The Brexit negotiations have stalled recently as the two sides failed to come to an agreement on issues including the divorce payment and citizens' rights. Speaking to the German newspaper Die Welt, Britain's Brexit secretary defended the progress the negotiators had made in the divorce talks. He said, "As far as we can resolve the issues at stake, we have done a pretty good job of doing it." Getty Michael Barnier and David Davis are thrashing out the Brexit talks together. Friday, September 29, 2017. German Chancellor Angela Merkel gestures prior to the tour to table of the Tallinn Digital Summit during a European Union summit in Tallinn, Estonia. "As far as we can resolve the issues at stake, we have done a pretty good job of doing it." David Davis: "We have aimed throughout this whole exercise to be reasonable." Mr. Davis described Mrs. May's Florence speech as generous, when she said nobody would pay more or receive less in the EU budget because of the UK's departure. He said, "What we know from discussions with Michel Barnier is that he is looking for a bit more leeway in his mandate. He has had a pretty tight mandate so far. We would also like him to be able to talk about the transition period, or implementation period as we call it. We distinguish there. Also, I'd like him at least to prepare for the future relationship. Some people say progress is slow. By EU standards, this negotiation has been lightning fast." Getty Davis said disagreements within the cabinet are very normal. London would continue to be the world's most powerful financial centre following the divorce with the EU, he said, adding the city will still be there in 5 years. "It'll still be the biggest and most powerful financial centre in the world, and that is because of things that are independent to this process: the centrality, the time zone, the language, the law." Mr. Davis said major progress has been made with citizens' rights, despite Mr. Barnier claiming there won't be sufficient progress until December. Following the widespread speculation there could be a no-deal between the two sides if an agreement cannot be made, Mr. Davis said it was not his intention and it was a distant possibility. Getty: Barnier and Davis have a shared love of the mountains. However, he said, a responsible government prepares for all outcomes and we are doing that. It is no part of our negotiating strategy, and no plan of our planning for the future in terms of what we intend. It is just a security thing. Like anything else you do on security, you produce your own insurance policy. This comes as Home Secretary Amber Rudd called a no-deal unthinkable. Mr. Davis defended the cabinet and any disagreements in it with regards to the Brexit negotiations, as he said arguments were just part of a living democracy. The 68-year-old said he liked his EU negotiating partner Michel Barnier and said as the pair both share a love of the mountains, they also share a continued determination and optimism.